Hello everyone, MacFrog here. On the channel thus far, we've covered 2 of the 3 recent IlClan era Battletech sourcebooks covering the events leading up to and shortly after the clan conquest of Terra. Sorry, spoilers. Tamar Rising tackles the events following the IlClan conflict over Terra, with only a very basic mention of Clan Wolf and a heavy focus on what happens when you obliterate a major player and don't tell anyone about it. From House Steiner to Clan's Hell's Horses, the process for discovering that the Clan Jade Falcon occupation zone is undefended is a note that Tamar Rising hammers with an intensity of a middle schooler on his first day as a percussionist. For the fans of Clan Jade Falcon, I can only suggest a good stiff drink and some comfort food, because the first few sections of this sourcebook are quite brutal. It tends to boil down to blank decides to check out planet, blank discovers planet is undefended, blank rings the dinner bell. There are some slight variations of this, as some planets rebel, some fight back, some are liberated by groups that want to start something new rather than returning to a major house, or in the case of one planet, slip back under the control of an organized crime family. At the point at which it all starts to become tedious, the Jade Falcon fans out there are thrown a bone in the form of 2 factions, each with very different visions of what the remaining Falcons should do with all their free time now that Malvina Hazen is dead. The head of the merchant caste, a woman by the name of Morena, ends up taking a big chunk of Clan Jade Falcon resources and carving out what she sees as a future without a warrior caste. This is a significant change considering how big a cut this is for a culture that was traditionally dominated by those warriors. What Morena sees instead is a merchant empire that secures influence and power through trade rather than by using battle mechs. It remains to be seen how successful Morena will be and how many former Jade Falcons will support such a radical departure from their tradition. The other option for Jade Falcons not currently fertilizing the soils of Terra is to seek out Khan Ge Chistu, who's rallying and rebuilding Clan Jade Falcon on Sudetan and the surrounding systems. A savvy warrior and effective politician, Ge earned his blood name and survived as a moderate within the Malvina Hazen regime, which is no small accomplishment. With only his wit, a loyal band of well-aged warriors, and a gigantic ship full of cash, Chistu has taken on the role of Khan of a clan that will strike out on its own and not bend the knee to the Wolf Empire as IlClan. Very quickly, the new Jade Falcons of the first Falcon Sentinels were challenged by Clan House Horses on Sudetan itself. Only through subterfuge and tactics not typically utilized by the old Jade Falcons was Khan Chistu able to bloody the House Horses enough that they retreated. It bought Chistu and his Jade Falcons some time. It remains to be seen if that time is enough to avoid being swept up by much larger forces. There is content in the book on the Kellhounds and the rebirth of the Grey Death Legion under Ronan Carlyle. The section outlining Calandra Kell's return to Ark Royal is interesting, if a little confusing, as the book references the death of her uncle Evan as a primary motivating factor, and then on the next page, page 33, tosses in the death of her father as almost an afterthought. It required a reread of the 2 pages to try to sort out if it was an editing mistake or not. Maybe I need to read a novel that covers these events to know for sure which one of her dead family members she was avenging. Perhaps it was both. Lore aside, the sourcebook was slightly less of a trial than getting through Empire alone, which got to be a bit tedious. Perhaps it's because I find Clan Wolf so boring. If you're a fan of House Steiner, the Kellhounds, Clan Jade Falcon, or Clan House Horses, the sourcebook has plenty of lore or red meat for you. Being a geography person, I really appreciated the pages dedicated to some of the major planets in the region. They really help to create a sense of place. It brings the world to life. The major players sections were good to put faces with names, and the campaign sections interesting, including a couple of reminders that the prime directive in Battletech is to have fun. The map included with the book is useful for the campaign, though it's not going to be something most people will find that compelling. This is not going to be one of those posters you often see on people's walls. I would still love to see a zoomed out, here's what the inner sphere looks like map of the galaxy as it stands in 3152. Maybe once more of the HPGs are back online, we'll get a clearer picture. There aren't any new mechs or weapons, though there are a few optional rules within campaigns and some randomly assigned mech and vehicle tables in the back for the true believers out there who want to run those epic campaigns across former Jade Falcon occupation zone. Of the 3 IlClan sourcebooks I've reviewed for this channel, Tamar Rising is more similar to Empire alone than IlClan. Understandably, there's lots of bits and pieces that need to be cleaned up and details filled in following the events of the IlClan sourcebook, and Tamar Rising does a good job of covering the northwest corner of the map of the Inner Sphere, which you have to imagine because it's not included in the source book. If you're a Battletech lorehound, you probably already own the source book. If you're on the fence and unsure, I would recommend it as a handy resource for quickly finding out what is going on if you don't have time to sit down and read a half-dozen novels, some of which have not even been released yet. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the IlClan era. Hopefully Catalyst will keep the quality up and start releasing some of those IlClan era totem mechs for Clan Jade Falcon. My bias is both clear and obnoxious. Sorry, not sorry. Thanks a lot to the KoFi supporters and YouTube viewers who are helping make this content on the channel possible. If you had told me 2 years ago that I'd be creating YouTube Battletech content, I definitely would not have believed you. Take care, be awesome, and make the world a slightly better place today and tomorrow.